Welcome back into the NW Sportscast. We just finished our Mariners rant. So now we're going to talk about our Seahawks rant. Both teams in the offseason. Seahawks win 10 games this year. By all accounts, a success on a lot of different regards. But there are some decisions to be made, Levi, in the offseason here. Most notably, maybe other than Geno Smith, is DK Metcalf. Will be the talk of the offseason. This guy to extend him or to not extend him? That's really the question. Jackson Smith and Jigba with his breakout year showing he's wide receiver one. So, Levi, I'll put this question out to you. With JSN's emergence, but with Tyler Lockett probably not signing back and him getting a lot older, you want to re sign DK for what will probably be a top 10 wide receiver salary?
Yes, I do. Yes, I
Okay.
do. And I think the reasoning, we are going to move on from Geno Smith. Maybe not next year, but eventually we're going to. And I think a young quarterback, probably rookie quarterback, would benefit from having DK Metcalf on the team. B, I think we are already probably going to lose Tyler Lockett. And obviously, we kind of already lost him in terms of production. Second half of the season, Tyler really didn't do much. So we've already kind of lost his production. We're going to lose him probably on the roster as well.
Yeah.
So, do you want Jackson Smith and Jigma as your only solid receiver? I know there are some teams that succeed with only one good receiver. Look at the Chiefs, obviously, the Ravens, Zay Flowers. So you can do it, but especially with a young quarterback, it's better to have two solid receivers. Do you want Jake Bobo to be your number two receiver? I mean, I don't. So yeah, I do
Oh,
think we should keep DK Metcalf around.
like I get that, but 25 mil a year right now, Levi.
Mm-hmm.
He would probably sign for close to 40, maybe 35, 30, somewhere to 30 to 40. That is a sizable chunk of change for a guy who, I mean, let's be real, he didn't have a $35 million year. I mean, he didn't. Like this was a guy that sure he performed, sure he played well, but he wasn't the wide receiver one for your team. You would pay him like the wide receiver one. After DK Metcalf, you're gonna have to pay JSN here pretty soon. You're gonna have to pay Geno Smith if you want to extend him. If you don't want to extend Geno Smith, you're gonna have to give up some capital to get a draft pick to get a quarterback because this team is too good to be top five, which is gonna be what it takes to get an elite quarterback in the 2026 draft. So when you look at all those factors, I'm gonna have to disagree with you, Levi. I think 2025 is it for DK. I really do. I think he's going to be too expensive. I don't think the Seahawks are going to need him because you mentioned it. I think the NFL has shown that you don't need three elite receivers. You need maybe one, two is preferable, but one receiver can get it done. And you look throughout the league, there are many teams that way. The Steelers, Ravens, Bills, Chiefs. I mean, you can go on and on. JSN is arguably more talented than half of the wide receiver ones on the playoff teams this year. And that's JSN, and we're not even talking about DK Metcalf here. So, Levi, would you rather have, I guess this is my question, would you rather have $35 million going to DK, or would you rather fix the O line?
I mean, I would probably rather fix the O line, but the problem is I don't trust John Schneider to spend $35 million wisely on the O line, but I do trust him to spend $35 million on a great receiver, which would be
How
DK
great
in
is
this
DK
instance.
Metcalf?
He's a
Sure,
really
he,
good receiver.
sure he's physical, sure he's athletic. How good is he?
I think he's certainly in the conversation for a top 10, top 15 receiver in the league.
I don't know. Didn't eclipse 1,000 yards.
And
I,
yards aren't everything. He still went for 15 yards per reception. So I feel like, and you're saying he didn't eclipse 1,000 yards. He didn't start every game. He missed 5 games.
5 touchdowns.
Yeah, do you blame him or do you blame Geno Smith for not play? You said it yourself yesterday in your video about Geno. Geno was terrible in the red zone. So is that DK's fault or is that Geno's fault?
Well, DK Metcalf's your big body receiver in the red zone, is he not?
So is it DK's fault for not being open or is it Geno's fault for missing it? I don't
I
know.
would say
Maybe we
both.
need to watch more tape.
I would say both.
I would say DK I think is a better receiver than Geno is a quarterback. And that's what I'll say
You
about
would
that.
pay a receiver $35 million, Levi, who has gotten less than 1,000 yards and 5 touchdowns in a season.
So is someone you think another team will pay him $35 million?
Between 30 and 35 to maybe close to 40. Yeah, I do. I mean, he's getting $25 million right now. DK Metcalf, it's going to be his like what, his third contract, second, third contract outside of his rookie with his rookie contract is his third. This is usually the big payday for wide receivers. There are a lot of top end talented teams that need a wide receiver one. I think DK Metcalf and his agent is too smart to sign with the Seahawks for $25 million again.
But he's
So I think
not
this
signing for 35. Drew, Justin Jefferson is making 35 million. CeeDee Lamb is making 34 million.
and DK Metcalf is going to want to get what those guys get.
Yeah, but he's not. No team is going to pay DK Metcalf, Justin Jefferson type of
He's
money.
getting paid 25 right now, Levi.
Yeah, and honestly, I think that's where he will probably should get. He hasn't improved since his last contract. That's the problem. You think he's going to get more than his last contract, but
I
he hasn't.
do.
He hasn't improved since then. So where's your
I think
basis for saying this? Here's a player who signed at 25 million, and then he has stayed as a $25 million player. So why do you think he's going to get a jump by another? You think 10 million?
because that's what NFL position players and quarterbacks are getting right now. They're getting increases in salary despite maybe not increases in production.
I don't think he's getting that high. I think he's probably maybe closer to 30 million, but even still, I mean, Tyreek Hill is making 30 million a year, and DK is not Tyreek Hill.
I understand it, Levi. I just would I rather have Jake Bobo and trade for another mid-end wide receiver and you save 20 maybe $25 million a year. I would.
Okay.
And you still have
So are you
JSN as that
saying
wide
we're
receiver
going to
one.
keep DK next year, or are you saying we should just trade him in the offseason?
I think we keep him, maybe trade him even at the deadline next year. I still think it depends on what we do with Geno Smith, right? I think if you don't re-sign Geno Smith, maybe you do keep DK because now all of a sudden you got a little bit more cap to work with. But if you re-sign DK or Geno Smith for another couple years, I just don't see where the capital is
Well,
to get a
Geno is not
linebacker
going to
core.
succeed with only one good receiver. So
Why
if that,
not? There's been many quarterbacks who succeeded with
yeah,
one good receiver.
many star quarterbacks.
Baker Mayfield succeeded without Godwin for
No,
the
he
latter
lost.
half.
He went for a 6 game losing streak as soon as Godwin got hurt.
I get it. He's beating the Commanders right now.
It's true. He's beating Commanders, but I would not trust. I wouldn't trust a mediocre quarterback with only one good receiver.
Russell Wilson's a mediocre quarterback, and I know he also
Yeah, and
struggled
look what
down the
happened to
stretch.
him.
I get it. I get it.
Five
But
game losing streak to end the season. I mean, look at what happens. Quarterbacks, if it's a star quarterback, it can work. Lamar, Josh, Mahomes, they can succeed without good weapons. But
Jalen Hurts,
he has Devontae Smith
he has
and
AJ
AJ Brown.
Brown. That's top. I don't think Devontae Smith is better than
No,
Jake Bobo.
Oh, what? Devontae Smith is okay. You're proving a lack of knowledge right now, buddy. Devontae
No,
Smith
no.
is already the 10th highest paid receiver in the league.
Yeah, Devontae Smith is overrated.
Overrated, but he's better than. Oh my
I
god.
weigh more than Devontae Smith.
Well, you're not as fast as Shifty or as good at catching touchdowns.
True, true. Look, Levi, I personally think DK Metcalf, $30 million for a receiver who has not produced. I don't care. He hasn't played 5 games this year, and I like DK Metcalf. He doesn't do enough. He has too many flags, too many weird things happen on the field. He doesn't have enough production receptions wise. He's a really good, maybe the best wide receiver blocking blocking runs and all that, which I'll give him credit for. But when push comes to shove, if you just ask me, would I rather have DK Metcalf or would I rather sign a center and a left tackle? I'm going the latter every time. Would you rather have a couple good linebackers or DK Metcalf? I think the bigger need is a couple of linebackers because at this point, I think elite receivers should be dedicated to teams who have that other stuff figured out, and I don't think the Seahawks do right now.
Yeah, and I think that is fair. My only stance is if you extend Geno and you're really going to put your money on Geno, I think you have to support Geno with another good weapon. And I think at the same time, if you don't extend Geno, if you save that money, if you go to a younger quarterback, you have to support the young quarterback with another good weapon. Either way, DK is a good weapon. But I
How
understand
much
what you're
faith do you
saying.
have in JSN, I guess?
I have
I have a lot of
solid
faith in him.
faith in him, but
Yeah.
I don't. it's more about who's your number two if you get rid of DK.
I agree. Maybe you look for the draft this year. I don't know.
I don't know. Kyle Williams, Washington State.
Or Levi, would you rather trade DK Metcalf this offseason and then all of a sudden you can get a guy? You know,
Well, unfortunately, Drew, I would. That's the one scenario where I would if you can trade DK to move up into the top five and grab a really great quarterback, I would. But do you think the Raiders are going to give up Shador Sanders for DK Metcalf?
no,
And do you think the Giants are going to give up Cam Ward for DK Metcalf?
no.
No. So and is there any other quarterback that you're willing to trade DK Metcalf in the draft to get?
Other than no,
Right.
not other than Warden and Sanders. No.
Maybe if Drew Aller, if he declares, but I'm pretty sure he's going back to Penn State for one more year. So I don't see a third great quarterback, but I do see two teams that are definitely not going to want
No,
to
yeah,
give up
I'm
that
with you.
draft position.
I'm with you.
So
I'm
I don't
with
think
you.
that's even we could probably offer them like multiple
How about
firsts
this, Levi? How
and
about you
DK.
trade DK for a first round pick next year?
If it's a bad team, then I could get behind that.
Let's say the Giants give
But
you their
but
let's say the
which
Giants give you their first and their second this year and their first next year.
well, they might be the
Probably
only
going to
team
be
dumb enough to trade us a first round pick for DK Metcalf, but I'd take it if they offered that.
so this is the same guy you want to sign for $30 million and you don't think any team is going to trade a first round pick for him?
He's got 1 year on his contract, so no, I don't.
One, you said he's a top 10 wide receiver.
Yeah, but for 1 year, almost no player is worth a first round pick for one season.
What if you throw in some picks with it for their
Yeah,
next year's
if
one?
you if yeah, we could probably trade DK and a third maybe for a first, something like that.
Okay, and I would do that.
Yeah, I might do that too, but it
All right.
depends on the team. I'm not doing that to the Chiefs. You know, if you give the Chiefs DK, the problem is if you give a good team DK for a first round pick, that
Yeah,
pick's
yeah.
going to be at the end of the draft.
You're looking at a Jaguars, you're looking at a
Jaguars,
Browns.
Browns, someone like that. Yeah,
Yes.
Jets, Giants.
Jets. Jets is a good
Yeah,
one.
and the Jets, their GM is a 14-year-old, so they might make that trade. They probably would.
Sure.
Maybe that's where we should look.
And Rodgers might run it back. So
Rodgers might run it back.
maybe him and
Give
DK
him
have
another
good
weapon.
relations.
Yeah,
Maybe he'll go into the darker tree with him. Who knows?
who knows? Well, I think that should be enough for this video, Drew. Comment down below. Are you on my side? Do you think that we should keep DK, or are you on Drew's side and think that his time as a Seahawk is coming to an end? I want to hear it in the comments. Let us know what you guys think. And as always, guys,
Leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, Levi.
go Seahawks.